Exploited for PR, Elton stabbed Sussexes back by refusing to testify after trapping Harry into MGN lawsuit. So it's now come out that Elton John flew the Markle Harkles to France, where they just so happened to introduce him to his lawyer Sherborn. They appealed to Hazbeen's victimhood and convinced him and MeAgain to join their lawsuits. Is it more likely than not that Elton and David used the project just as a way to win the Harkles over, and once done, David quietly asked Netflix to drop the project, thus relieving him of having to follow through? Is it more likely than not that Elton Davis Sherborn used Hazbeen and MeAgain to fund the lawsuit, knowing there was little to no evidence Hazbeen was hacked? Is it more likely than not that Diana and Elton parted ways shortly before her death because she found herself being used by Elton? Is it more likely than not that Elton generously allowed the loan of his private jet, and then when he had all he wanted from the Harkles, they now find themselves not getting any returned calls? Is it more likely than not that these two fools have been used by everyone they thought of as friends, like Nopra, Elton, Sherborn, and any more, only to be dropped once these people had gotten all they could? Is it more likely than not that these two will never see that they've been grifted since even before Megxit by those who convinced them that they could be a billion-dollar brand, knowing that this was a lie the whole time? The Duke admits that before meeting David Sherborn on holiday, he had not considered suing as he had never seen any evidence. The Duke of Sussex has revealed that he was introduced to David Sherborn, a privacy and defamation specialist, by Sir Elton John and his husband, David Furnish, during a holiday that he and MeAgain had enjoyed with the couple in France. Asked when he had first approached solicitors about making a claim against the publisher, he suggested that in fact it had been Mr. Sherborn's idea. "I didn't go to them. I bumped into Mr. Sherborn in France," he said. "It's in my book." In his memoir, Spare, Harry revealed that he and MeAgain had felt confident and courageous in September 2019 and announced that they were suing 3 British tabloids over their disgraceful conduct and long-standing practice of hacking into people's phones. Harry is suing MGN for damages, claiming journalists that its titles were linked to methods including phone hacking, so-called blagging or gaining information by deception, and use of private investigators for unlawful activities. He said, quote, "It was partially down to Elton and David. At the end of our recent visit, they'd introduced me to a barrister, an acquaintance of theirs, a lovely fellow who knew more about the phone hacking scandal than anyone I had ever met. He'd shared with me his expertise, plus loads of open court evidence, and when I told him I wished there was something I could do with it, when I complained that we'd been blocked at every turn by the palace, he offered a breathtakingly elegant workaround. Why not hire your own lawyer?" The Duke said in his book that the thought had never occurred to him, but Mr. Sherborn was duly hired. In the High Court on Wednesday, barrister Andrew Green tried to ascertain how the claim had materialized. "So, prior to bumping into Mr. Sherborn in France, you hadn't sought advice from lawyers about whether you had a claim against the Mirror Group?" he asked. "No, nothing at all," the Duke replied. He admitted that before the meeting, he had not considered taking legal action as he had never been shown any evidence. "It was all contained within the palace," he said, adding that he would have never been allowed to make a complaint. Mr. Sherborn's clients have included the Duke's late mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, actor Michael Douglas, former Prime Minister Sir Tony Blair, and Colleen Roney at the Wagatha Christie trial. Sir Elton settled a phone hacking claim against News Group Newspapers, publisher of The Sun, in 2019, and is part of a current joint claim brought by Harry and others, represented by Mr. Sherborn, over alleged unlawful information gathering at Associated Newspapers Limited. The publisher, of course, vigorously denies any of the claims.